Well, what I would like to recognize is Patty Daly from the Cape Cod Commission, and she's going to start our report on solid waste. Am I correct?
You are?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patty.
Actually, there's been quite a bit happening in this field. Back in 2007, the Barnstable County Commissioners established the Cape Cod Solid Waste Contract Committee. And the idea behind that committee was that 14 of the 15 Cape towns are currently disposing their municipal solid waste at CMAS through long-term contracts. Most of those contracts are going to expire in January 2015. In the meantime, CMAS has recently approached the Tier 1 communities, which is all 14 of those Cape towns, about extending their contracts for another 15 years, and they've set forth a non-binding MOU which establishes some conditions going forward if the towns want to sign up now for these contract extensions. Currently the towns are paying on the average about $38 a ton as a tip fee at CMAS. Very excellent rate, negotiated a long time ago. The contract extension that CMAS is proposing with the towns right now could bring the tip fee up to in the order of $80 a ton. So the members of the contract committee that you established expressed some concerns about that, about the fact that the contracts aren't up yet, and they felt that it's a little early to be talking about extensions at this point. Some concerns about the fee escalation, and also about the lack of understanding about what potential options are to CMAS at this point. Towns haven't really looked at this issue in a long time. So with that said, the committee discussed having an alternatives analysis to the CMAS proposal done. The commission was fortunately in a position with our district local technical assistance money to put aside about $40,000 to help with that effort. So with $40,000 of the state's technical assistance money and another $5,000 match from the commission, we recently issued an RFP for services to look at these alternatives. We just got the bids back this week. There were 4 responders, and a subcommittee of your contract committee will be meeting this week, or actually early next week, to look at those proposals and choose a consultant to go ahead with that study.
Who is the committee membership?
Who is the committee membership? It's primarily facility operators. There are some town administrators, for example, in Wellfleet. I think Paul Seeloff has been coming, but it's primarily the folks who run the DPW or the solid waste facilities.
Go ahead.
Patty, the consultant is going to study what should be included in the contract terms and conditions?
No, I think that's a second step.
Okay.
This first step is if we didn't bring our waste to CMAS, or knowing what CMAS has put on the table as an offer, are there alternatives? For example, could we rail haul our waste off Cape to a facility somewhere in New England or even the Midwest, and would that be more cost effective?
Okay. Just to follow up on that, if one of the options, and I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost because I mentioned it some time ago, relative to CMAS or anyone else who's actually producing electricity from the burning, sometimes we focus just on the tipping fee, but there may be other opportunities to offer tipping fees that might have been higher than we had wanted to, but we end up getting a power purchase agreement out of it for the municipals for amount of significantly reduced energy prices or fixed pricing. So when we are looking at our alternatives, especially if you're looking at plants that are producing energy, waste energy plants, there are some thinking outside the box might bring in some other benefits that would be acceptable to our towns for a tipping fee that might be higher than they would have liked because they're getting a benefit on another area. So just throw that out there.
And I know the state is in the process of doing their master planning, and they're looking at this very issue, what happens with the RECs from waste to energy facilities, and so that's all in discussion, I think, at this point. We'll keep it in mind.
Patty, you've sent out MOUs asking the towns to sign on, and how many towns do you know have signed on yet?
I think all of, from the email that I got, everybody who was in that email chain has decided not to sign the CMAS MOU, and instead to sign an MOU amongst the Cape towns that says 2 things, essentially. One is that we're going to wait for the results of the alternatives analysis, and secondly, we'd like to negotiate together to get the best benefit for the individual towns in the region as a whole. So I think kind of the first step is this alternatives analysis and see where we're at, understanding also the impact of the RECs in that. And then a second step will be the towns deciding how and if they might want to proceed in negotiating CMAS, if that's the preferred alternative.
Patty, just kind of mention, because you mentioned kind of hauling waste off, to farther distance.
Yes.
Bourne obviously must be an alternative in that, because they've expressed an interest in trying to compete, because they're looking for a revenue stream now.
Yeah. They have been to all of the contract committee meetings. Actually, Elizabeth Hute and I from Commission went and toured their facility, which is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll, I'm assuming they will clearly be one of the alternatives that's looked at as well.
Bourne can't be reached by rail though, can
Uh,
it? I'm not sure.
No, you
No,
need
it
to
stops at the
truck.
base, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you need to truck it in.
And in regards to what Maggie was saying, Maggie, you were saying how there's some of these facilities will convert it into energy.
Waste to energy plants it's something that you need to think of as when you're pricing and preparing your contract. If you may be able to accept a higher tipping fee in exchange for a power purchase agreement at a reduced price or set price over a period of time. So all I'm saying is just to think outside the box, not just about the tipping fee. And you're already confirmed you're aware of that. And that's what you've been looking at. So.
Because CMAS is one of those.
Right,
facilities.
CMAS does produce electricity, and right now, buried in their agreement, when we looked at this, NSTAR is getting output. I don't remember why at a below market price for their basic service customers. So municipals may have other opportunities. I think we could come to the Cape Light Compact or to customers on the Cape. So I think we need to just think about what are our other options. They may work out, they may not, but I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
The other thing with CMAS is to remember that the contribution of trash to the reduction of carbon footprint, the effect on the reduction of dependence upon imported fossil fuels, was all part of this whole picture. There was a certain amount of energy that we use in order to get fuel here, especially the high dependence on oil that we have in this area. So that's all enters into that mix.
How much do they generate?
I don't
Does anybody know
know.
what their capacity is?
I have to look. I have it in my files. I
A
don't
million
remember.
kilowatt hours?
I don't remember off the top
So
of
it's
my head.
pretty small, what you're telling me.
No,
One
I'm telling you,
megawatt.
I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the things we did put in the RFP was asking for additional quotations to look at the environmental, footprint, the kind of the life cycle costs environmentally of the different options as well. So hopefully the proposals will address that.
Is there any connection on this study with looking at the benefits of pay as you throw, or pitch and pay?
No, but you lead me to my next topic, which is one of the discussions we had was the need to really increase recycling by individuals throughout the Cape. And the group has expressed an interest in the Commission looking for some grant funding to look at ways to reduce our waste through better recycling. And pay as you go has been discussed as well. So we're hoping to do a second study to look into that.
If I may, what is the percentage what is the target percentage for recycling?
The state's target is pretty high. I want to say I don't want to guess. So it's over 50%. I think we're around in the 20s or 30s at this point in terms of what's actually getting recycled.
Because the more that's recycled, it keeps that out of the waste stream, and the less we have to deal with as far as tipping fees. I think I hope that all these environmental studies all include all of those separate issues. I know that when we set up this committee in 2007, all of those things were put on the table as part of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep pursuing those. One other, actually two more things. One is Elaine Davis, your procurement officer, was approached by the town of Eastham and a couple of other towns to see if there are opportunities to get a better price for hauling municipal solid waste and for disposing of construction and demolition debris. So she put RFPs out for those, and we get some very good results from those. With respect to municipal solid waste hauling, the towns of Orleans and Eastham have already identified savings from the responses to the RFP. In Orleans, the savings is $14,000. In Eastham, it's $17,358 for a total of $31,000 in savings to the towns if they join onto this county contract for waste hauling. And the disposal C&D, those bids came in very low, so the towns are very happy about that. They're just kind of vetting the responders now to make sure that they're happy with the services.
On the C&D, there was a great concern about the amount of handling that you had to go through in order to make the C&D appropriate for hauling. Is that labor piece considered in this?
I do not know the answer to that question. I can find out for you, though, and let you know.
Okay, because the prices for C&D for the actual hauling of material, it doesn't take into account the sorting and, let's say, in setup, it can be significant.
I believe that was probably, it's for C&D disposal, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming that it's from kind of pickup to takeaway.
Okay, well, I think that has to be clear because it could
Okay.
give a false picture of savings if it doesn't include that labor piece.
Yeah. I will look into that and get back to you.
Can I just go back to the alternative study just for a second? Remember a few years ago, well, you guys don't remember, you're naive.
That's right. That's very nice.
But you remember, we did a study for Wellfleet. Roger.
Yes.
Roger.
Oh, Roger.
yeah.
That was
And the
his
study
downfall.
basically looked at composting as an alternative.
Oh, yeah.
They were thinking about trash mining at the Wellfleet landfill. And that came up with the conclusion that if it was around $90 to $100 a ton, you could do it. And we're kind of close to that number now. So maybe I should dig up all those materials, and instead of replicating that, maybe you can just give it to the selected vendor, and he can maybe build some of that into his
I
analysis.
think that's a great idea. We have talked about this process is sort of pushed by the CMAS MOU, and the towns felt the need to get this information, sooner instead of later. There has been a broader discussion, though, about other options like integrated waste management options and more recycling and pay-as-you-throw. So it's definitely it's a great committee. These people know what they're doing, and they're engaged, and they won't let issues like that drop.
Yes, Pat.
I hope you keep on the table the benefit of the Upper Cape transfer station, where all that trash goes by rail
Mhm.
to CMAS, because I'm sure it must keep a whole lot of trucks off the road when it goes by rail. In fact, I just heard the other day that the rail line from North Falmouth to the bridge is being upgraded by the state to handle faster trains that can go, right now I think they go 10 miles an hour. They can go 27 miles an hour when these tracks are upgraded, which would even be more beneficial for the trash.
Pat, is that part of the, let's see.
Part of the Cape.
Is that part of the
dinner
Buzzards
train.
Day commuter effort?
No, it has to do with the, well, it's Mass Coastal, and I think it's the dinner train, the tourist train.
Okay, so it's not.
The one that runs now. Right now, it's not anything to do with commuter rail, but it could in the future
Okay.
if the state ever gets the New Bedford line built and then wants to consider the Buzzards Bay commuter line.
And on Friday-
that upgrade of the line will actually allow that to happen.
Yeah, Friday after our strategic planning, right near the rail trail head there's a big parking lot right near the railroad tracks. They're pulling out railroad ties. They were
Oh, you're talking
replacing
about County Road in North.
well, it's right near 151. You know where the interchange is, right there. So
Well, I can tell you what's happening there, and that's what I just said,
Yeah.
is that the state has, improving that track, and what they did is removed all those rotted ties,
Yeah, right.
and they stored them there. That land actually belongs mostly to the state, and there will be a parking area there for the bike path. But, and there'll be an improved signalization at that, at County Road. The kinds of signals where the gates go down, which
where
doesn't
does that
exist.
train go, though? It kind
It
of
goes to CMAS. It goes to CMAS. That takes the trash to CMAS from the
Uh-huh.
base, from Falmouth and Yarmouth and other towns that have their solid waste taken to to the base. That's a trash train.
That connects with the.
Fondly known as
the
a trash
energy
train.
train.
Hmm?
The
The energy
energy
train,
train.
that's right, it's the energy train,
Because it
huh?
all gets
Does that
converted.
connect with Yarmouth? The one
Well,
that-
Yarmouth,
I know
yeah,
Yarmouth.
Yarmouth
Yeah.
Yeah.
gets their
Okay,
trash
but,
over
I mean, is
here.
that the same track?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay, so it goes to Falmouth and then up?
Well, it
As
goes,
far as
no,
road.
it goes to the base, and then it comes around
I mean,
through
is that-
part of Falmouth, and goes out through Bourne to the railroad bridge.
The, the track from Yarmouth, I thought went right to the railroad bridge. I didn't realize it went to Falmouth.
It goes to the base.
Okay, so it goes through the base.
And then from the base through a section of Falmouth, which is an old,
We
what
went
do they
over that,
call
I
them?
think, when we went
Lots
to,
for
Hyde
trees,
House.
wood lots or
Woodlots.
something. It goes through a whole area where there are nothing but wood lots. And then it crosses at County Road, which is near 151, and then heads right out through Bocassa and Bourne, and then out to the railroad bridge to CMAS. Yeah.
Is there, are there any questions from the public?
That's
or
good. So that's moving along.
Any comments you'd like to add? No? Paul, is there something you'd like to add, or is there?
It's been a great process. I mean, we had this original report about a year and a half ago that issued, and distributed that to towns. There were some issues. One is that we hadn't really given Bourne, I think, full enough consideration as a potential alternative. And so we really started from scratch. Took about 6 months off, and then we started from scratch. And with Patty's help, primarily, we've got all 15 towns that are participating, and 14 towns that I think are going to hang together to try to get the best price possible and not be intimidated by CMAS.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a really good regional process, and the county has played an important role.
There's also another issue with regard to private haulers and contracts for the over the road stuff. And you may recall about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
where there was some issue as to the absolute cost of trash by rail or trash by truck. Has that been addressed?
Well, certainly it was addressed then, and the towns decided to stick with the rail option.
Right.
And the rail link is important for a number of different reasons. So going forward, I mean, a lot of people forget that we have 3 bridges across the canal, and it's important to keep them all viable. At one point in time, it did look like the trucking option would be less expensive, but I don't believe that's the case now, especially with Mass Coastal and some of the improvements that they've made and gas prices.
I have a question. You mentioned Orleans and Eastham put out an RFP.
They asked the county to put out an RFP.
We put out the RFP.
Yeah.
No, I meant for trash hauling.
Yeah.
Oh, the county put out the RFP for them just to see what the cost of hauling would be from those 2 towns?
They're obviously hiring, they pay their own independently, and they asked the county to put out an RFP
To get a better
to see if we can get a more
rate. Yeah, get
competitive
a
price,
better rate.
involve other towns. I don't
Yeah.
remember how many other towns could opt into this. Do you have that?
I don't. But what will happen is the individual towns will contract under the RFP.
Right.
So the county just made it available
Mhm.
at a certain price. for
Um,
towns
This
to
all
decide.
comes from their learning experience through their regional efforts down there, that they got to know Elaine Davis better and all of the wonderful benefits that she has provided them, just in supplies and different things that they've always sort of done individually, and even their outhouses this year through the county. So we got a better rate.
That's just getting the trash to CMAS. That doesn't affect that's the transportation.
That's the
not
transportation.
tipping.
That's not a tipping, right. Is there anything else?
I just wanted to let you know that I've been appointed to the State Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Oh, congratulations. Oh, exciting.
I'll be attending my first meeting tomorrow, so looking forward to being more involved in understanding where the state's at on these issues, and particularly RECs. And
So you'll be traveling up to Boston for this? Is this what?
yeah, I think they meet quarterly.
And you have the direct day-to-day responsibility at the commission for moving this forward? Or?
I do, and together with Elizabeth Hughes, who's our Special Projects Coordinator, we've been staffing this effort.
Is anybody on any of the towns on an earlier schedule for contract Seems to me there were one or two, or
I
not
think
every
one
day
or two.
was
Wellfleet was the
February.
first town to sign, I believe. So they're probably up a little earlier, but
Yeah.
not within more than a year of
Oh,
each other.
okay, yeah, not significant. Get confused between this and cable.
Yeah, cable.
Well, it's certainly a
Yeah,
regional
exactly.
issue, there's no question about it, and there's a lot of support behind it to work
Yes.
on a Cape basis rather than an independent basis, independent town basis.
It's been a great effort.
Mm. Great. Since there's no more on that,
I'm not expecting
Do
any
you
more
wanna go
solid
and
waste
you'll see what it'll-
advisory, right?
Anymore.
I mean, there's no more people coming in on the solid waste. Are we expecting somebody from Vaughan at some point?
Oh, no.
No,
Okay.
no, this was just the commission's update
Commissioners
Oh,
on
what's
our
going on?
kind of county activities.
And you're the one responsible for moving this forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wonder if you'd be available on July 6th to, to be on my program to talk in general ways so we could
Sure.
advise everybody on that. 3 o'clock over in Yarmouth.
3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
The Monday after July 4th, you're asking to be on your program?
Are you going someplace?
No, I'll be here.
Yeah, I am. I sense a certain lack of, commitment here?
Are you on Monday after July 4th? You bet. Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you did those like in Tuesday, check
I'll be going on Monday.
On Mondays, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. That's,
Thank-
and thanks for all your
good.
work.
That's really
For
good.
bringing all that forward. And I'm glad you're at least enjoying it. It's such a
I am.
exciting, well, I'm sure it is
It's on a
interesting,
happy
exciting.
basis.
Sort of like the dredge, once you get into it, it's actually interesting.
Patty, just be curious, just keep me in the
Oh,
loop
sure.
on any conversations you have on the sale on Rex.
Okay.
Okay.
I will.
Thanks.
I think, yeah, the state's still unsettled about it.
Yep.
I don't know if home is, your census on that.
Yeah. I think since we have a 25-minute break here between now and when the
I would
EDC
do,
comes.
I think now is the time to do.
Oh, we could do an
personnel
executive
session.
session, that gives us enough
Executive
time?
session.
Yep.
So I
To
would
come
like to
back
go
out.
into,
Return, I need,
And then
yes,
return
return
to
on
open
open
session.
and we'll
Now, I
return
move
to
that we go
open.
into executive session and return to open session for the purposes of personnel matters. Flynn, aye.
Lyons, aye.
Already,
Okay, we'll tell Mr. Maloney when he